Welcome to A1R Psychic Radio here on Moonstruck TV with Amanda Hall Psychic, here all the way from the Gold Coast in Australia. It's actually early morning here. It's 8 a.m. in the morning here in Australia, and the spirits are already starting to tickle my ear. And it's just absolutely an amazing, perfect spring day here. I know for those of you that are in the Northern Hemisphere, you're starting to sort of get into your cooler months of the year. So, you know, you may like that type of weather. I particularly like the warmer weather, so it's my time of the year to shine. So before we kick the show off, I just really want to sort of stop and take a minute or two to sort of join our hands together and please pray for some rain. I mean, those fires in California are beyond devastating, you know, not just the loss of property, but the loss of life. And so many people are going to be affected by this for such a very, very long period of time. And it's not something that most of us can even comprehend what it is for someone to lose everything that they treasure and they value and that is so important to them. I know people say, well, they're thankful if all their loved ones are still alive and with them and weren't affected by the fires. But the thing is, when we lose the things that are personal to us, the things that our children made for us or our grandchildren or something that was left to us by a relative that's no longer with us, that's equally as painful. And there is a grieving process that goes with material possessions as well as loss of life. And I think we underestimate that as a globe. We don't remember or acknowledge the fact that people will grieve over their personal possessions that they've lost as well as other things in tragedies like this. So, okay, so let's kick the show off and get it into a more positive, happy, positive vibe, because it is going to be Thanksgiving in America, and I want to wish everybody over there a very, very happy Thanksgiving. We don't celebrate that here in Australia, and I wish it was one of the holiday traditions we did celebrate, because I really do think we need to learn to be thankful for the things that have happened in our lives. But anyway, moving along, the Simply Tarot card of the week is the Eight of Pentacles. Now, this is a card that's pretty self-explanatory when you look at it. Here he is sitting there chiseling away doing his work. It is the card of work, and it is also the card of paid work. Now, people say to me, well, look, that mightn't relate to me. I don't have a job, or I don't want a job. I've retired, or I'm doing different things in my life. It's the things that you are working on. And working on can be many different things. Some of us could be working on relationships. Some of us could be working on, you know, things around the house or things that we find that give us pleasure. You know, one of our hobbies, you know, we might be making beautiful pottery, or we might be painting a picture or writing a book or just writing a song or just enjoying being in the garden or just working on enjoying with our family. Whatever it is that you might be working on is what this card represents for the week. So it's a very, very busy week astrologically this week. I mean, I'm so excited to say that Jupiter has finally entered Sagittarius, and this is a really magical cycle that happens only once every 12 years, because Jupiter spends approximately 12 to 14 months in any one sign. So it's just come out of Scorpio, where it was very intense. There was a lot of things that people had to work through. A lot of things came to the surface. A lot of truth was revealed. And I think that was a really important thing, that a lot of things that had been hidden from all of us collectively as a globe were brought to the surface, that we had the opportunity to take a look at it, resurrect it and say, hang on a minute, this is not right. We can no longer as a society or a family or an individual put up with this sort of stuff. So, and happily I'm to say, just because Jupiter's moved out of Scorpio into Sagittarius doesn't mean that that's where we shut the door on it for another 12 years. It just means there'll be more and more layers to be revealed over time, and it will be dealt with. So don't just think that the energy stopped because it's changed. But because it's moved into Sagittarius, we kick it up a gear or two, because Jupiter actually rules Sagittarius. So Jupiter is feeling very, very comfortable, very much at home. It's the opportunity for, no matter what your star sign is to get up off the couch, make hay while the sun shines, do something constructive in this next 12 months. If there's projects or situations or opportunities that you want to get off the ground, now is the time. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. It's the opportunity for expansion and luck and opportunity. But opportunity only knocks if you get up and look for it. Opportunity doesn't knock on the door and say, hey, are you ready? It means you've got to get up and actively participate in making things happen. So it's a time when things are quite magical. Things can happen. Things can change at a moment's notice. You have to also be careful of any sort of expansion can mean expanding waistlines too, for those of you that might become a little bit self-indulgent and too many any sweet treats over the festive season. That's okay. We're allowed to do that, but don't forget to counterbalance it with some exercise and some good healthy eating as well. It's all about the balance. And when we've got Jupiter in Sag, Jupiter says, oh, just one more piece of candy or one more slice of pie won't make any difference. Well, it does. If you know that your tummy's full, it's full. So don't sort of force that next bit down just because it was so tasty, because it's always tomorrow. And it's a time when we get back to more serious matters where you really can make a difference in the world. It's a time when we really do need to be bluntly honest with ourselves and the people around us, because Sagittarius and Jupiter both rule honesty. And they do like to sort of look at the much bigger picture. So we're going to see a lot more world events. We're going to see a lot more stuff happening with world leaders, and we're going to see some breakthroughs there. I'm not sure that what I saw this morning on CNN with what President Trump was going on about was one of those things that I'd like to put into that category. I mean, we can also see people exaggerate the truth or bring things out in a more embellished way. So we need to be careful of that. So you need to sort of be very careful when you're listening to what people have got to say, and make sure that you believe that they're telling the truth. Now, that takes me on to the next part of the astrology section, and that is we have the planet Mercury that we talk about a few times a year. Mercury actually goes retrograde or backwards 3 times a year, approximately for 3 weeks. And this is the time when we really need to be very, very, very careful of what we say. And I think, President Trump didn't realise about Mercury retrograde and just sort of let his tongue do the waggling this morning that I saw. And that's just one example, but I'm sure there's plenty of politicians and important people around the world that haven't really thought about what they're going to say. And this is a time where people don't have their listening ears on, where people are only half listening to you and can get something misconstrued and not fully understand in the context that was being delivered. And then that can create arguments and disappointments. So be very careful over this Thanksgiving holiday, that if you're spending time with family and friends, this is not the time to air the family dirty washing or the arguments or the grievances you've had, because even though you think that you might be presenting it in a very logical, practical, nice, gentle sort of way, the person that you're directing it at may take umbrage to it, and they may not be very happy with the way that you've brought this up at the dinner table. And sort of, why would you bring it up now? Can't we discuss this on another day? And it could end up causing more of a rift in the family than what you intended. Where you were trying to mend a family, you could end up blowing it apart. So be very, very careful. Mercury retrograde is the planet of communication. It's the time that we need to be very careful with all forms of communication. It's the time when we can have issues with our laptops and our electronic devices, where emails go awry, people get on the wrong plane, they lose their luggage. It's not the perfect time to send a parcel or sign a contract, but I'm not saying the whole of your life should stand still either. If you need to sign a contract, make sure you thoroughly read it, get someone else to read it, proofread it for you, and make sure everything's in its rightful spot, and then go ahead and sign it with confidence. So Mercury retrograde finishes about the middle of December. So up until then, I think you just got to be careful that, you really do listen to what's being said. And if you don't understand something, please ask the person to repeat it. So our famous actor of the week, and we're up to a male in Taurus, is the one and only George Clooney. And I'm sure there's not too many women that are watching today and tonight, wherever you are in the world, that don't sort of like to watch a film with George Clooney in it. He's been one of the world's greatest sex symbols of our time anyway, where everybody sort of, when George was single there for such a long, long time, I think every woman in the planet dreamed at some stage or another that they might have become Mrs. Clooney, but he is now happily married. But George Clooney actually started out in television. He's been in films. He's been a screenwriter. He's been in politics. He is a real humanitarian. But he's a man that really takes his business really seriously. Business and doing things correctly is very important to him. He likes to make sure that the message that he's delivering in whatever work that he's working on is very thorough, very articulate, and it has to have some basis or purpose. He doesn't like things that are sort of seen to be sort of frivolous. If you're going to put all that energy into producing something like that, he wants it to have a very deep and meaningful message. And that's really important to someone like a Taurus, because value systems and things that are important to them besides money is a very important part of their ethos. And he does this very, very well. He comes across with this very suave, sophisticated, very strong, definite and very methodical front. And they're all words that I would put with the Taurian energy. And for those of you that have been watching regularly, you'll know that, the Taurian energy is about, what's mine's mine and what's yours is mine, and their first love and their only love is money. And, and that's an important thing to them because they need to have this financial security underneath them. But they also are very strong, dynamic and definite sort of people who, take a long time to get angry, but when they do, watch out. Now, he's won many, many awards over the years, but he's also won 3 Golden Globes, 2 Academy Awards, but he also won the Academy Award for Best Picture for Argo. And it's not a picture that I can say that I've seen, but I'm certainly going to look at watching it over the holiday season. So we need to keep the show moving along. We are actually featuring this week, it's the full moon, and it's on Friday, wherever you are in the globe. And this week we're working with the full moon candle. So when we're working with the full moon energy, the full moon is when the energy of the moon is at its fullest. So I like to work on a 7-day process. 2 days on the approach, 3 days of the full moon. So that would be from Wednesday, we'd be starting to work with the full moon energy. 3 days would take us through to Monday. So from Wednesday to Wednesday, we would be working with the full moon energy. Now, the full moon this month is in Gemini. So this means it's going to be, in a sense, an erratic full moon because the Gemini energy is asking us to be versatile, flexible, be able to change at a moment's notice. Don't be in too much of a hurry to set everything in concrete. Allow opportunities to come to you. But it's also about getting to know our local environment, spending time in our local neighbourhood and sort of really understanding and knowing what's going on. So the full moon energy works like this. I want you to write a list of 3 things that you would like to release under the full moon. Now, that can be anything from, I might want to release my uncomfortable energy that's been sort of surrounding me in the last couple of months. I've been feeling a little bit negative, a little bit down. Maybe it's time to put that down on a piece of paper and say, I want to release that energy as we head towards the end of the year. You might want to release an argument or a disagreement that you've had with a friend. You might also want to release your debt that you've got in your life, that you want to find some active, positive ways of being able to reduce or release your debt. Now, with a full moon, I always like to have everything in balance. So if we're going to release 3 things, I'd like you to put down 3 things that you'd like to attract towards you, things that you can make that are fresh and new in your life that, maybe longer range plans, but they're things that you can do. So with a full moon candle, we have 2 wicks in these candles. I prefer to light 1 wick one day, 1 wick the next day. That way it gives you a longer burn time. You will get approximately 50 hours out of an extra large candle, but if you're working with the 2 wicks, you'll get anything up to 100-hour burn time. Now, because we're in the Gemini energy, we need to have an air sign candle. So this is our Gemini candle, which also equates for our other air signs, which is Libra and Aquarius. So again, the same principles, write an identical list to what you did with your full moon. You're putting it in the same principle, 1 wick one day, 1 wick the next day. So what we do is when we've written the list, we read it out aloud. As we're going to light the candle, we pop it underneath the candle and then we put the candle on a coaster, never directly on the furniture, so that then that way then we're sending out to the universe our intent for the new moon, and we need to be looking at that in a very positive sort of way. So we're looking at it in a way that we're sending out to the universe what it is that we want to attract to us and what we want to release under the full moon. Now, this is very important, that we're releasing and then we're replacing what we're releasing with something new. Now, I want you to be very clear on that you know and you fully understand what it is that you're trying to attract towards you. Now, be aware this full moon may make your emotions a little bit erratic. 1 minute you might feel very positive. The next minute you might feel a little bit emotional. Take yourself to a happy place if you're feeling a little bit emotional, or go and sit in nature, go for a walk in the park, do something to shift and change that energy, because it's going to bring up a lot of thoughts into your mind with the full moon process. Now, I want you to sort of burn your full moon candle for about 15 minutes a day, 15 minutes to 2 hours. For those of you that don't have time to be burning that, we have our travel kit. These burn for about 15 hours each. There's 3 individual candles that make up the gift box. You can make them up from the 27 out of our range. This week I made 2 air sign and one full moon, but you can make up the box entirely whichever way you'd like to do that. Now, for those of you that don't want to work with a flame, we actually have a melt warmer. You can pick these up at your variety store, your department store. Here in Australia, around about $15. They are electric. You put a couple of teaspoons of wax in there to begin the process. Now, yes, you can put your full moon wax and also your air sign wax out of your candle directly into the little tray on top, and you can pop your list underneath the melt warmer, put that on a coaster, turn it on. You can leave these happily going all day. So you can have this going all day in your office at home and just flick it off overnight. So that's how we work with the full moon energy. So we're going to take our first caller, and we're looking for Suzanne in West Yorkshire, England. Are you there, Suzanne?
I am. Hello.
Hello, Suzanne.
Hello.
Do you have a question for me, sweetie?
Yeah, I'd just like to know if you've got anything regarding what I could do as a job, work-wise.
Okay, Suzanne, they never give me a sort of profession. They give me a series of things that I will share with you. They don't give me, you need to go and be a hairdresser or something like that. The first thing that I'm picking up, well, that's good. Because some people think I can be that clever and give them, the place that they even need to ring up for the interview. Okay, the first thing that they're showing me, Suzanne, is there's a definite change or ending to things that you've done recently and in your recent past. So I'm going to say to you, has there been in the last 6 months, since about June, have you really felt as if a lot of doors are closing around you, like things are tidying up and finishing off, getting you ready for a new cycle?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's good. We need to continue on with that. Now, I sort of feel the new job is not just yet. It's sort of like I've still got question marks around what it is that you want to do. You've looked at so many different things, but nothing seems to really fit like a glove.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah. So having said that, what I'd like to see you do, if the job that you're in is not that terrible, then sit there for a little bit longer and allow yourself the luxury of time to say, I just don't know. And then see what comes into your mind. Sometimes I think we get so bogged down and I've got to have an answer now that we actually block the positive energy or the positive direction that's going to come from our higher guidance. We block that from coming in. What I am being shown is that there needs to be some further study or training to get you to where you want to go. Now, the only thing that they've shared with me is that your job needs to be taking you into working more with people on a very direct level, sort of like on a face-to-face level, not on a remote level. It's like I need to get you back amongst the people again. That's really important. It's I feel like you've been isolated for too long, but I also sort of feel that you have very, very great skills in helping people find solutions to the things that are troubling them. So I think we need to somehow or another put this into a job. Do you know what I mean? If you're going to sit there and listen to everybody's ailments and problems, you may as well get paid for it. So I'm not necessarily saying go off and be a counsellor, but what I'm saying is they're the areas I think we need to start researching and sort of looking at what sort of these skill sets fit, and then look at, do I have the skills to do that? Do I need a couple of other things to add to the resume to make it easier for me to get a job in that situation? Look, this is probably not what you're going to want to hear, Susan, but they're showing me that there's not a job change until about March. And I know when you think March from November, you think, oh, gee, that's a lifetime away. But it's not really, because they're showing me that this is important. Who's the dark-headed man that's just caused you to get really angry? Was that somebody really close to you? Because they're showing me somebody here you could have quite happily donged on the head. You were so cranky with
I don't know. I don't know.
Okay, I'll leave that with you, but they just showed me a man with dark hair and they said that you were so angry. It takes a lot for you to get angry.
Right. And I've not been angry lately, so I'll watch for that coming.
Okay, all right. Well, then take that as a premonition or a warning of something to come up. But they're showing me it's not worth the anger. I mean, I don't know that we can prevent the anger, but it's like don't get bogged down on whatever that is, because it's here one minute, it's gone the next. It's really not that important. You know what I mean? Like you're better off conserving your energy other things that are more important in your life. So that's really good. But I wish you well, Susan. I know that you're going to find the right position, sweetie. Thank you. Okay, we're going to go to Ada in Newry, Northern Ireland. Are you there, Ada?
Oh, yes, I'm here.
Ada. How are you, sweetie? How can I help you?
I wanted to ask about what do you see in my career life?
In your career life, sweetie?
Yes.
Okay. First thing that they're showing me is that the energy's bouncing all over the place. So you must have felt very unsettled recently, have you, in your life?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, because they're showing me we've got to try and stabilise that energy a little bit before we can start to get direction of what it is that you need to be doing next. Look, sweetheart, I don't know that you're – look, I mean, I see work around you. I want to be very clear about that. I see work around you, but I'm not necessarily seeing the job that I think that you need to have just yet. It's like you need to sort of let this bouncy sort of energy sort of settle down a little bit, find some sort of balance in your life, and then I think we'll start to sort of peel back the layers of what you need to do next. There's been too many people around you, Ida, that have been telling you that you're no good at things. They're not sort of boosting your confidence. There's too many people sort of trying to take you down. I want to see you sort of try and rise above that, because I think there's too many people sort of trying to give you what they consider is their wisdom, and none of it's is of any great meaning towards you, because nobody really understands what it is that you need or what you want out of your life. You're a very giving person. You're a very caring person, but I want to see you start giving to yourself. I think you need to start looking after yourself more than everybody else, and then I think we'll start to get directions. Were you thinking of working with children? Because I keep seeing children everywhere.
I haven't thinking about working with children, but I was mostly thinking about working like helping people around, more like a social care work as well.
Too, but they were showing me children. There was like not babies, but children sort of from about 7 to 10 were everywhere around you, as if that was sort of the direction that you need to look at first as far as work situation of sort of what opportunities are there. That may not be where you end up, but that'll put you on the right path for the sort of work that you want to be doing. You know, it'll either be children or working with people, but I feel it's going to be more to do with children. And I'm not talking about in a teaching capacity. I'm talking about in another capacity where it seems to be very rewarding, very fulfilling for you. You seem to be able to reach everybody at their level. You have a wonderful personality that's able to put yourself in other people's shoes and makes you such an approachable sort of person. So no matter what you end up doing, it will be with helping people.
I understand.
Yeah, but you've got to look after you first, Ida. That's the important thing. You've been neglecting looking after you, sweetheart.
That's true. I feel actually a bit stuck at the moment.
Yeah, I know you feel like you're stuck, and I agree with you that you are to a certain point, but it's like you're stuck for a reason. You're stuck because you need to look at some of the other areas of your life that need attention, and number one on that list is looking after you. Once we start looking after you and meeting your needs, then we can start peeling back the layers like an onion, peeling them back and sort of dealing with the other issues. Look, I don't know that you're going to get the exact answer of what direction you need to be going career-wise before the end of the year, but I do feel that you need to look at a lot of things. And, you know, you look at it and you can cross that off the list, or I can move that over to the basket that says maybe, you know, and that's a definite yes, or that, you know, like we need to put things in piles. And by that will come the answer of what you need to be doing. But children was the thing that they kept showing me, was that you seem to be working with groups of children.
I would check about it.
You what, sweetheart?
Can I ask another question as well?
Yeah, sure.
What do you see in my family life?
Can you be a little bit more specific than just family life, sweetie?
Like relationships.
Okay. So has there just been an end to a relationship?
Yes.
I feel that you need to let that one go. I don't feel that one's going to come back towards you. And even if it did, I don't feel that it's right. There is a new relationship coming, and I feel quite quickly, with someone with sort of lighter brown hair, more green to hazily coloured eyes. It is somebody that you know, but it's not somebody that you've ever had a relationship with. I think it's somebody that's moving back home, moving back to where you are, and the two of you sort of rekindle your friendship, and it'll lead from there. It'll develop into a relationship. But he's really lovely, and I think he's going to bring a joy to your life that, you know, everything that's been in your life this year up until this point has been sort of like dark and grey and sort of unhappy. It's sort of time we turn the corner and bring some positivity back into your life. But things will certainly be on the upward swing. So I hope that's helped you, Ida. We've only got a couple of minutes left of the show. So again, I want to wish everybody a very, very, very happy Thanksgiving around the world that celebrate Thanksgiving. And don't forget, make sure you've got your listening ears on and be very careful of the communication that you have with others, because remember, other people may not be listening. And also, we do need to really keep our Californian friends in our prayers and in our positivity and in our thoughts, and just hope that they get rain and they can start to rebuild their lives again very, very quickly. It's going to be a long time before those people actually get their lives back in order again. And I know firsthand how devastating fires can be. And on next week's show, we'll have the Simply Tarot card of the week. We will have our candle of the week. We'll also have our famous Taurian female actress next week, so I wonder who we'll find for that. And well, of course, we'll take a couple of callers. And if you want to join my newsletter, you can go to www.amandahallpsychic.com.au. When you sign up, you'll get a free astrology chart, and you'll find that there's many different services that we offer there. And if you type the word radio in the coupon box at the checkout, you will get a discount for watching the show. So until next week, I hope you're very kind to each other, look after each other, but most importantly, celebrate and find something positive to bring into your life now that Jupiter's gone into Sagittarius, and get up off that couch and do something positive about your future. Bye for now.